Hey everybody, I'm Ron Alley with Copy Artista, and I'm part of the Arts and Culture Advisory Committee for the town of Smyrna. And today we're going on the next leg of our Arts and Culture Expedition. Today we're going to go up to Clarksville and see the great things that have been going on there with their arts and culture scene. Come along with us, find out about what's going on there. We're going to bring it back and talk about it here and how we can learn some things for our town here in Smyrna.
Well, thanks for coming, Ron.
And our community is different, socioeconomically, where we are, but we learn from others.
Well, we ought to be sharing more ideas with other communities. Anytime that we can pick your brain or you can pick our brains, we love to hearing new ideas. So there's no such thing as a bad idea. Let's just get it on the table and see what works.
You've got so much to do here. This should be a tourism destination. How much tourism do you see?
A lot, and it continues to grow. The attractions here are growing immensely.
We're really excited about things that are happening downtown and around the county. Downtown is Art Link, which does programs for children and families. River City Clay with kiln and pottery set up right on Franklin Street. And so is the Downtown Artists Co-op. They are a vibrant part of downtown culture.
It's really about engaging with the people, giving them as many options as we've opened a new nature center, the Wade-Bourne Nature Center. We've opened Fort Defiance, that's the Civil War Park. We have a Rosenwald School in our county that's been restored. We have coming next year is the new Tennessee Wings of Liberty Museum at Fort Campbell. Now that is going to be a tourism destination. They're expecting a couple 100,000 people a year at this thing. And we hope that all of us organizations will benefit by that. We should. If we get just the table scraps off of their visitation, we'll all do pretty well from that. Our new Performing Arts Center, when it gets up and running, our new arena brings people in from all over the region. We have a new downtown central park. We call it Downtown Commons, and it's a gathering place for outdoor events, music events. Really gives you kind of a gathering place for the community. All of that is added to the vibrancy of our arts community. It continues to keep it out in front of people.
Those investments in spaces.
Yeah, spaces and places. And
That's what
Yeah.
we need more of our governmental leaders, recognizing that
the economic impact of the arts.
there it is, the
Yeah.
economic impact of actually creating those spaces and helping to support.
Direct and indirect spending. They all want to justify it on how many tickets or seats are going to be in that. But look at the indirect impact. Look at what it brings into the community. Even the big cities like Nashville, even Bridgestone says, we lose money every year in the operational side, but we don't care. It brings in $500 million of other things into this community. The leadership of the community has to look at it not just in, is this facility going to pay for itself? They have to look at it, what's it going to do for us economically?
We would have to construct space like this because we don't have buildings that are big enough or designed for this. However, I've always thought that an ideal use of the depot itself would be to make it, to upgrade it, kind of upscale it, to use it as an art gallery and fuel traveling shows and local art and history in the depot itself. I think that even if we added 2 parts of it, at some point, that'd be a good use of the depot building, and it's still within the historic footprint of a building that's been there for a long time. This space has amazing depth to it. It has amazing lighting. You're able to highlight special displays. It's also got space for 3D art and rolling components that has art on it, where you can expand in the middle of a room. You're able to control the lighting to direct it to give the best presentation of the art itself.
One of the things that I am excited to see in Clarksville is the interest in public art. The statuary.
I'm reading a book right now. It's called The Power of Public Art. And it's all about the economics of public art.
I was
Yes.
amazed at the number of actual bronze installations that you have.
That's happened even more so since you were here last. The suffragette statues happened since then.
Austin P is starting an art trail.
A sculpture trail.
To go along
Yeah.
one of the greenways from Austin P up to Fort Defiance. Visit Clarksville has really promoted public art, and if you go to their website, they have every piece of public art and a little story about how it developed and what it means.
Gives people something to see and do when they're in town.
And there have been some travel writers who have come in and talked about public art in Clarksville.
I think that sets a tone for a community, that this is something we value.
And we all participated in First Thursday Art Walk. That's a community, downtown community coalition thing, and those can be organized pretty inexpensively in any community.
Does someone coordinate that?
If there's an art walk committee, it's just a matter of, kind of getting your arts assets to all pitch in and say, we're gonna host local artists in our business. And that's what happens. The restaurants might feature an artist that month. Or we have even one in a church gallery. It's really gained a lot of momentum, and a lot of people look forward to Art Walk every month.
DAC is packed that night. We have people all over the area coming. Sometimes we have live entertainment. We have food and wine that's donated. We have a brand new exhibit every first Thursday. We probably have 5 or 6 venues now for First Thursday Art Walk that do have an artist's work exhibited.
And sometimes an artist painting live. It has grown. It used to be just a few businesses, within a 1-block radius of Franklin Street, and now it is spread. I believe the First Presbyterian Church has donated a bus to take people around from stop to stop. That has been a big lift, I think, to create more interest in coming downtown. That's how the co-op started, and wanted it downtown, and wanted it named the Downtown Artists Co-op, to create more interest in people coming to the downtown area.
And for art.
Yes. Other than enhancing the downtown artists area, we wanted to promote not only developing artists in the community, but also developing an appreciation and an understanding of fresh art in the community.
You can't just sit and wait for people to come to your door. You have to get out there and tell them what you have.
A challenge in that respect is that being a military town, we have a lot of people coming in from all over, actually, who we have to continually say, do you know about Art Walk? And they're saying, oh, we just moved here.
You're constantly having to re-educate.
How do you get word out to the community?
We publish a quarterly magazine. That's probably been our greatest communication tool. It's a high-quality magazine. It's well-written, well-researched, and printed locally. We're very proud of the fact that it's done 100% with local writers, and I have a managing editor on staff here.
We send out to the membership, but it also is free to the public, set in different places, different like the gyms or offices.
We do allow advertisers in it, but we try to keep it as a higher-end publication.
When the magazine comes out, they have an event at a local restaurant.
We call it History on the Rocks, and we do it as a rollout for the launch of each quarter's magazine. And it's free to the public. A lot of the writers of these stories come and do a little 5 or 10 minute presentation. And it's just a point of engagement to get people together in a social setting and share what's new and interesting in the community.
In one of the magazines, and it's beautiful. It was an article on an African American community at Dunbar Cave. I knew nothing about that. And now there's a marker there. Also, this magnificent exhibit on Reelfoot Lake. How interesting it was to find that out in your backyard.
Those are easy to put together too.
Storytellers.
Storytellers, oh my gosh, yes, absolutely.
It kind of crosses over between the writers and also performance-oriented as well.
Well, our mission is history, arts, and culture. Everybody in the communities has a role in that. They're all contributors to the story. We said, hey, we're always looking for those people who have a story to share, and you just got to be out there. Because we are a military town, I love this. We have over 50 nationalities represented in this community.
Several years ago, read an article locally about this group of women who are from all different nations that have come here from various reasons, most of them through the military, and they kind of would get together and meet quite often. And so I invited them to be a part of putting together an exhibit here that kind of showcased a little bit about their cultures, and we had clothing and props and different things from their different native lands that we presented, and then they came in and did an interactive program for the community that was free and brought in food tastings. And so we've done that for several different cultures now. We, in fact, just finished up an exhibit on Thailand with our local Thai community. We've got an agriculture exhibit right now downstairs that has brought in people and funding from people in the community that have particular ties to that aspect. And it gives small children a chance to see these big tractors up close.
The community, they need to see themselves.
As contributors to that, yes, and that's what we encourage, and I think that's why we're getting those kind of new insights into the community.
I'll tell you about a project that's exciting to me. We have installed storybook trails. It's a book that is put 2 pages at a time on stands that go around about a mile path. And what we've done is we've gotten books by local authors or illustrated by local artists. We received a grant from the Community Health Foundation, and we have put trails in a park in 5 counties. One of the panels wants children to know that it's their neighbor who wrote this book or who illustrated this book, and that they can do one too. The Dixon County has a website with all kinds of activities that can be done with the book, arts kinds of activities, drawing pictures or writing their own story.
Ellen, would you say that the impact of the Writers' Conference comes to play here?
Well, this is our 20th year of the Clarksville Writers' Conference. I won't say that it's the Writers' Conference itself, but I will say that there are a number of writing groups, critique groups that have sprung. I'm in one that I attended the first conference, and 4 of us at the end said, oh, that's a really exciting thing and we want to keep it going. And we've been meeting, we've published 3 edited books. So we've had that in just one group, and there are other groups around. There's a memoir group that meets at the DAC every month. I don't think anybody's looking to publish anything from that, but families will benefit from that information, and it's a nice social event too, to meet and talk about things. So yes, I think the Writers' Conference has had an impact.
Writing's creative. We're talking about creativity. I prefer to use that when I talk about our young creatives rather than just artists, because so many times people look at just, when they think, they have the image of they're just painting when we say artists, but they're creatives. They may be utilizing multiple avenues of creativity.
I like to think of our arts community as being all the disciplines of, music, literature, the fine arts, performance art. I think that idea has finally settled in on the community that all of these things are part of the cultural assets of the community of Clarksville.
I mentioned the county, city things. I've been coming back here. That's what I kind of remembered and was hoping to capture, because our community needs to figure that out.
Several years ago, the county passed an ordinance for a percent for art. As you probably know, that's to devote 1% of capital funds to art. It does not have to go on the capital project that is getting the money. It can go anywhere in the county. And they have done some very nice things. Our sculpture called Tip of the Spear up by Fort Campbell. They helped with funding the suffrage monument on Public Square. A lot of that was private funds. They gave maybe 15%, but that 15% was nice. They helped to put in a statue of a U.S. colored troop soldier at Fort Defiance, which was a Civil War fort, where the principal use during the war, since Clarksville was occupied by the Union Army since 1862, the principal use was to recruit USCT soldiers. And so we now have a very nice statue of one there. There's a number of other smaller projects that they've done. Frank proposed a special special lighting system for our new arena, and the Percent for Art is funding that. The city also funds us, and they fund the museum. Arts and Heritage, I don't think takes up a huge amount of their budget, but it's good for us, so we get $50,000 a year. And they have set up an arts, culture, tourism authority to bring in money to build a performing arts center where the Roxy Theater is. We really have benefited from that program.
Our museum's largest grant sources have been locally funded. 2 years ago, we completed the renovation of our children's floor, and the primary funding from that came from two organizations. One was from the Kiwanis Club of Clarksville, and civic organizations like clubs who have a particular focus. The Kiwanis Club's focus is on children. So knowing that, when they found out what we were attempting to do, they said, how can we help? And so we presented them with a plan for a $500,000 renovation to the children's floor, and they funded $150,000 of that. So sometimes you just have to have the right project and the right donor or funder who has an interest in that. So when it comes to public projects, high visibility projects, a lot of these civic clubs are actually looking for things to put their names on. So when you tour the museum, you will see the Clarksville Kiwanis Club's name prominently featured on these locations. We have two. We have the Kiwanis Family Art Studio, and we have the children's floor called Explorers Land.
But even with the Explorers, with the Kiwanis money, it became more of educational and more local history themed and topics that pertain to this community too.
This area of the museum is an amazing story of how Clarksville came to be and what its roots are. It would be an amazing thing to have a place somewhere in the town of Smyrna that actually told our kids the story of how Smyrna came to be, especially since we share World War II history with Clarksville, them having Fort Campbell and us having the Seward Air Force Base. Just being able to tell those stories, and the stories of amazing people who came out of the town of Smyrna or came through the town of Smyrna. Something to be considered as part of our culture, part of our cultural development.
Another big piece of that money came from the Community Health Foundation, a joint effort by the city and county using money in the foundation to fund various projects as long as they have a health-related benefit. So again, it's a matter of matching your mission to their requirements.
And the arts have health benefits.
Yes, have health benefits, both now, I mean, certainly physical, mental, emotional health, well-being. We just have to tell the story in a manner that meets their requirement. We created walking tour maps that have a health metric to them, and that satisfy their need for, their involvement. So I think in any community you're going to have organizations like that who maybe are looking for an opportunity to attach their names to a worthy public project. Most dramatic impact it had in our organization was we were, of course, coming out of COVID, but when we opened this, our attendance jumped probably 15,000 people a year. Our membership jumped from 550 to 2,300 members in about a 2-year period. And we're, of course, now, sustaining that. It's always about, you get people there, how do you keep them there? This lady right here is going to talk about that. Terry Jordan, our exhibits curator, is the turnover in our exhibits. Terry, how many exhibits we do in a year? Different
we do
that change
about
over?
25 to 30 changing exhibits,
Changing
and
exhibits.
then we have permanent exhibits
Every year. Well,
too.
that's what keeps
Yeah.
people coming back.
Keeping it fresh.
Yeah.
Keeping it fresh.
What we try to always remember, and one of the reasons we do so many different shows a year, we're not a destination city, technically for tourism, for museums, but also this is the only place that a lot of people have experience at a museum. They don't go to national museums. They don't go to the bigger cities to museums. So we were talking about the fundraising for exhibits. It's really about finding within your community the people who support specific topics or subjects, and we do that with a lot of the larger exhibits that we bring in that have traveling fees with them, is trying to find people in those niches that's their interest to help support it. We've done that many times. One of them, we had an exhibit on the local racetrack and the history of racing locally, and we actually are lucky enough to have a former driver that was pretty well known who lives in our community and has always been very supportive of the museum, but we raise funds that way as sponsors for particular themed exhibits. It became a multi-galleried exhibit. We brought in a lot of people from the community who hadn't been here before and got them involved. So I think doing things like that and trying to get different segments of the population.
Talk a little bit about the Google grant.
Oh yeah, on Google. So Google actually provides grants within local communities of where they have centers. And so we just recently had a Google grant for $30,000 that was able to bring in 2 children's traveling exhibits. And I think we had over 3,000 school children last spring that came through to see that exhibit, and we just finished up the second one earlier this year.
And they were both STEM-related themes, so that matched their mission. You know, Google had a real interest in something that had...
That's educational.
Educational.
So it's community, it's educational, and also our education director working with the schools on what kind of things they're looking into, what are they teaching, because they're limited with how much funding they have for field trips to try to get them to come here for ours.
Yeah, we try to match a lot of our exhibit themes to like school curriculum.
And most traveling exhibits that we bring in that we do not create in-house, the average cost for one of those is at least half of what my yearly budget is, so we have to find funding. Most traveling exhibits for children now are average from $30,000 to $120,000 for a 2 to 3 month run. Depends on how many interactives and bells and whistles you're looking for. And if you don't put a deposit on it 3 years out, you don't get on the list. So once you commit, you're kind of committed.
The Downtown Artists Co-op is coming from a totally different situation in that we're not 501c3, so we don't have the option of applying for grants. That really restricts us to seeking donations from local entities, as our sales are not able to sustain the gallery. And with the rejuvenation of the downtown historic district with the arena, rent has gone up substantially. As the fundraising coordinator, Beverly is being able to keep us afloat.
We're almost on a perpetual fundraising campaign. We have about 40 some odd members at DAC. We don't have the 501c3 because we do have a retail side, but we have a beautiful gallery. We have an extended gallery at Tenova Hospital, and we have an extended gallery at the public library in the children's area. We also have an extended gallery at the new hotel downtown. It's these donors that keep us in business that would give us $1,000, that in return they would get a painting, a watercolor, a photograph, and they could start their own gallery. That's exactly what this funeral home has done. That's so generous with giving us money. He wants local photographs, and so we've supplied him with those for a long time. Prior to COVID, we had a live auction every year, and we make several $1,000s from that. That's the best way to get top dollar for that artwork.
I think each of us arts organizations sitting at this table, we all have fundraisers at various levels. Our annual fundraiser is called Flying Eye. It's a gala event. We have 2 of those. We have a winter and a summer event. And that's how we connect with a lot of our business community. Because businesses, they want to be supportive of the arts. They just have to have a reason, and you have to give them that opportunity. It may be, in some cases, just the connection with your event, the publicity that you share about them being the, quote, sponsor of your event. You can create opportunities, create an event where people want to be part of that event. That's a great way to get people to buy into your mission or to your message about how important the arts are in the community. Create something where they can gather and celebrate that. I think one of our greatest strengths is matching up our mission and those opportunities to potential underwriters. You got to know who's out there and what is their hot button that they want to be associated with. That's how we spend a lot of our time, is just creating those relationships. And we have the added benefit of the university here. Austin Peay State University is the official university in the system Center for the Creative Arts. So we have that advantage that sort of underpins a lot of what our cultural fabric is, you know, with these wonderfully talented people in the arts at Austin Peay.
Are they good at engaging with you in community?
Yeah, they are, and getting better all the time. I think they see that as an economic driver as well for student recruitment, for just general health of the university, to be out in the community more visible. And athletics and the arts are the 2 places they get visibility in the community.
Do they have an internship?
Actually, at the Downtown Artists Co-op, for several years, we had Austin Peay interns.
Yes, we have internships here all the time with Austin Peay students. I end up hiring some of them. We're fortunate to have a number of employees here at the museum that are Austin Peay graduates.
Thank you for the amazing work that you're doing that other communities can glean from. It's not just your community, we glean from one another.
Oh yeah, we should be, absolutely.
Very much so.
Well, good luck with what you're doing. I think give you all props for just being out in the region and offering to connect with us.
Thank you again for spending the time today.